Hey guys, it's Todd here. Welcome back to another book review. Today we'll be reviewing a very exciting book, but a very true one. Because as you know, most of my books I read are nonfiction, and this one is a really exciting book, especially for fans of this guy right here. I showed you guys this in my book collection video where I showed all these books. This is one of them. Got this at my local library, so that was cool. I have to go see what other books that the one and only President Donald J. Trump has written. The only other one I know is The Art of the Deal. He's written that. But I'll have to check my local library, see whatever else there is. So I'm going to be reviewing this today. Very exciting. So, again, it is written by him himself. This is not one of his fans or neutral actual objective journalists or anything like that. The one and only Donald J. Trump. Now, everyone should know that this is written 2015. This is when he was running for president after he announced his candidacy. Like somewhere towards the end of the year. The latest in this book, the latest date he mentions is just September 2015. So this book could have been published in October. I'm not exactly sure the date. I didn't look it up, but somewhere towards the end of 2015 this was published. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get talking about it. So, each of these chapters, there's a total of 17 chapters, and each chapter is about 10 pages long. So these chapters aren't long at all, actually. The book is about, without the extra stuff at the end, I mean the acknowledgments, about the author, the appendix, the book is 169 pages, to be exact. So that's how long it is. Again, about 10 pages a chapter. So, there's also a preface, by the way. So that's also. So if you're thinking 10 pages a chapter, that's not that long. Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be long when all the information he crams down in those 10 pages in a really great way. And when you're thinking of Donald Trump, you're thinking, oh boy, this is going to be a funny book. Well, no, there's not really a lot of jokes in it. There's actually like a serious book, actually. So this is not like Donald Trump as he's running for candidacy, just putting jokes out everywhere about the other side. No, he actually criticizes them in like an actual professional way. I mean, he's done that a lot of times before. It's not like when you hear about him, it's not every single time he's just making jokes about other candidates. But anyway, this talks about basically everything he was planning to do that he did during his presidency. And I'm pretty sure, again, I'm not going to remember exactly word by word every single page in this book to remember if he did everything or not, but he is, like as I call the promises kept president, because people hold the signs up that said Trump promises kept, and it's true that a lot of politicians, they say, I'm going to do this, I promise you this, and then guess what? All talk, no action. And then Trump, on the other hand, is like, I'm actually going to do this. I'm calling out all these other politicians that aren't doing this and saying they're going to do something they don't. And I'm actually going to do it. And it turns out, in the past 4 years, he did it. Hooray. So mostly I'm going to talk about a mixture of what he's actually done during his presidency and then the viewpoint of before his presidency I'm going to be talking about, because that's when this was written. So when I say, oh, we gained rid of the Obamacare mandate payment, of course, like, he actually did that, like, just a month, I believe so, a month or two before he wasn't president anymore, if I remember correctly. So, if I say stuff like that, just remember, this is before he was president. This was a year before the presidency was decided, basically. So 2015, the end. So he talked about a lot of stuff, and if I go to the table of contents, I can keep myself organized of where I want to talk about in this video. So he talks a lot. I mean, I'm not going to say a lot, because about 10 pages a chapter, but he talks about how the media is unbiased. We all Oh no, and but I forgot to say unbiased. Yeah, he talks about how the media is unbiased. Don't quote me on that first one when I forgot to put the quotations because that's just wrong. And he quotes how they purposely just get stuff wrong, like both liberal and conservative media, like mainly conservative media before he was actually president, or because they tried to get their ratings up, they would actually lie about him. But liberal media, the worst, obviously, and he would even send liberal journalists like information about what they asked for, and then after they got, they would still purposely write incorrect stories about him. Still happens today, obviously. Not just with him, of course, with every Republican politician, as we know that. It's not just about him. He also talks about a lot of stuff like, of course, how he's going to build the wall that we all love, that I wish I could have helped build by donating a few bricks myself. Yeah. How we can't have a lot of. The estimate is there are around 11 million illegal immigrants in the country. I mean, that's the amount documented. The amount of undocumented, it could be up to 10 million. Who knows? It could be even up to 20 million. For all we know, they're undocumented. So he points that out that there's also a lot of undocumented, and the documented is about 11 million. You gotta stop that they're taking American jobs. And he also talks about foreign policy, how we gotta stop. I think there was like one point where Obama was literally telling, like, I think it was our enemies, like what we're doing, what we're going to plan to do. And then it's like, well, what's the logic in that? Of course, you can say that about anything any liberal says ever and any time in history. But that's beside the point. We're talking about specifically that point. A lot of stuff like that. And that we need to stop making ourselves look weak against other countries, how they think we're weak. And we need to stop being cowardly about say no to bad deals. We gotta make good deals, good negotiations with other countries. Of course, that's what he did during his 4 years of presidency. He made America strong again. He made other countries fear America again. And you could say fear America. There's kind of like a wide variety of ways you can describe that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go say like other countries 100% fear America. Like that's definitely not true. Like Kim Jong-un, I wouldn't say that he fully fears America, especially with you know who now. But otherwise, yeah, he just basically said we need to make America strong again. Other stuff as I'm going down the contents here, he speaks about how American children's education needs to be localized and not by the government because that gives them the best education. When the government says every school needs to learn this, then it's just a bunch of, it could be a bunch of propaganda. I don't know if that's exact words or if I'm just thinking that in my head. I'm trying to remember from each of these chapters what he said. But his main point was we need localized community schooling and not like federal government schooling saying every school needs to have this taught to their children. And then another thing is, I mean, he did talk about him being patriotic. Like, it's not everything about his policies he's going to implement. Like, there was like 2 or 3 chapters he talked about, like, his past, growing up. And there's even there's not a lot, but there's some pictures, like here, I'm going to show a specific picture as an example. See if you can get this one. On the bottom right there, him meeting President Reagan back in time. If you didn't know, Trump actually did meet Reagan when he was president. So now you know that. He talked about like raising the flag. And he did talk about how his I don't remember if it was his choice or his parents sent him to the New York Military Academy, so he graduated from military school. So that's actually pretty cool. It's something I don't think I'm ever going to do. He also talked about how he's always going to protect people's rights to keep and bear arms, that he and his sons are NRA members, and that the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. He said that he understands that phrase pretty easily, and that the Democrats are just trying to make gun control laws, and he points out as if laws apply to criminals. Like, seriously, that's like a basic point we're trying to make. And then he also talked about how, let me go to the next page, calm down, that we need a new tax code, like how he said he wants Americans that are single and earning $25,000 less than $25,000 annually, or married couples that are earning $50,000 less than that annually should not have tax income tax like that, and that would eliminate about 75 million American households, he said. Like, because I mean, seriously, like, if you're only earning that much a year, you shouldn't be taxed that much for income tax. I mean, income tax is kind of stupid when you think about it. He also said that if if he was president, he would change the tax brackets. It would be like 0%, 5%, and then the third one was either 15 or 20%, I can't remember, and then 25%. One thing I missed actually in the first table of contents page, maybe I did miss it, but I can just quickly go over it again in case I actually did, was that there needs to be privatized healthcare and not national federal healthcare, because not everybody can afford it. He said that in 2015, there are about 40% of Americans living in poverty and they can't afford this healthcare act. So he said that he's going to get rid of the healthcare mandate, which he actually did in the final 2010 was actually the second final year of his presidency. So in 2020, he got rid of it towards the end, actually. Just, I mean, he did a lot of stuff, so you can't expect him to do like everything in, let's just say, 2 years or even 3. Like his full presidency, what it takes to get everything done, which he actually did. Made great promises. He kept them, unlike a lot of politicians. So anyway, back to healthcare. He said that in order to make it more affordable, there needs to be competition in the market. So people need privatized healthcare and keep it more affordable to them instead of Obamacare that nobody wants. That's mainly like most of what the book is about. I also remember the second chapter title is called Our Unbiased Political Media. I remember reading that, and my dad looked over and he laughed and he said, I like that chapter title. So that was funny they saw that. Another funny chapter title is It's Still the Economy, Stupid. So, I mean, that was like the only like unserious, like kind of insult in the book. It's still the economy, stupid. Like, I like that. But otherwise, if you look at all the other chapter titles, they're pretty much professional, just like pretty neutral, positive titles. So, it's a great book if you wanted to learn about all his policies. Like, if you didn't pay attention during his presidency, you could pick up this book, because pretty much everything in this book, again, I can't remember detail by detail every single chapter, but he pretty much did everything in this book. Like, he actually kept his promises during his presidency. So, like, even if you know, like, what he did, like, it's still an interesting book to read, because I only started getting into politics about a year ago this month, actually, when I started watching Ben Shapiro. So, it's been like a whole year, actually. I actually didn't keep only a quarter of Trump's presidency. I actually paid attention to what was going on. But, you know, that doesn't mean that I had no, like, opinion or side in politics at all. Like, actually, in 6th grade, that's when I called myself a Republican. That, it was weird how I actually had, I hate to say it, believe it or not, the most hardcore conservative guy today, but back in the 7th, 8th grade, I had some liberal ideas. You know, I hate to say that about myself, but, you know, the biggest Republicans, like Trump and Reagan, those guys were Democrats before, and that they turned out to be the most Republican people ever, so, yeah, I mean, to me, I never was a liberal, like, definitely not, no way. Like, I've always had more conservative viewpoints. Overall, in general, I think the only thing I supported back then was abortion. Like, today, no way, nuh-uh. Like, way different than back in, like, 7th grade or whenever when I said that. But, yeah, on this book, 5 stars. on here. Out of 5 stars, this is how many stars are rated, as you can see here. Now, obviously, might be just a little bit biased. I might have a bunch of Trump shirts. I might also have a watch for Trump as well that goes with it. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, I also might have a Gun Owners for Trump 2020 that you can put on a keychain or just any chain. So, I mean, I may just be a little bit biased towards this book. For those who don't know, if you can't tell, might be a little bit biased towards an entire political party, but whatever. At least I'm not an objective journalist that says I'm objective when they can't stop hating the American rump right there. As you can see in the camera, it just says rump. Oh, wrong way. Rump. That's all you can see there, but great book, definitely recommend it. Go ahead and read it. It's definitely a great book to read. Thank you all for watching. Give this video a liking. Go subscribe for much more. Comments I don't ignore. And post notifications.